What's good, everybody? It's John. I'll come back at you on another video. So this video is going to be about you remembering to never underestimate yourself, right? Title of the video is Do Not Underestimate Yourself. Now, the reason why I say this is because I have a statement written right here on my phone. I'll read it to you guys. It's really short, 2 sentences, right? It's the idea that says, do not overestimate the competition and underestimate yourself. You are better than you think. Now, I'm saying this to highlight this idea because this is extremely important, right? Oftentimes, we as people, we have that tendency to underestimate ourselves because we think that we're just insignificant or we're not good enough. Or if you're in a position where you're starting from scratch or starting from zero, you might think that, it's virtually impossible or pretty much impossible for you to get to where it is that you're dreaming of or to where it is that you want to go. And you need to remember, you need to sometimes step back and put things into perspective, right? First and foremost, that every single human being that's here on earth, no matter how much money they have, no matter how successful they may seem, each and every human being was born as a baby. Everyone started off as a clean slate. So it doesn't matter how wealthy, how rich, or how successful, or how talented someone is, right? Like everyone always started off at zero at some point. Everyone always struggled at some point in their lives, right? You need to remember that as one. And two, you need to remember that competition itself doesn't actually exist, right? Like people will say that competition does exist, but the idea of competition, that comes from a place of lack. It comes from this idea, this belief that there's a finite amount of resources that we're all fighting for, and that simply isn't true, right? The goal for businesses are, of course, to make money, and money is an infinite supply. It's unlimited, right? So because remember, money can always be printed, and most of the money doesn't even exist in physical form. Most of the money that exists is literally digital, just numbers on the screen. And obviously there can always be more numbers on the screen, right? So people, they can see their quote unquote competition, right? Even though that doesn't actually exist, right? But people will look at the people in the industry, the people in the market, and they'll think that they're untouchable and that you yourself are just insignificant and you can never get there, right? You need to have faith and belief in yourself that you are good enough, that you are capable. The fact that you can have that dream or have that belief of where it is that you want to go means that you can get there. It means that it's possible, because what you envision in your mind, you can actually hold in your hand, right? That is the first step of creation, right? Using your mind and your imagination to create something that doesn't exist in the physical world, right? To then create that and bring that to the surface. And you do this all the time too, right? It can be as simple as you waking up and you thinking, using your mind, your imagination on what it is that you want to eat for breakfast. And you can settle on something and then go out of your way to make that thing or to go buy that food item to eat, right? Like you do it all the time. That is creation. And oftentimes people look at themselves as lesser when in actuality, all of whether it's the big brands, the big businesses, right? At a certain point, they all started from zero. They all start at the same spot where you might be at, which is the very beginning. And that's okay, right? That's just all part of the journey. See, the thing that people get tripped up is a lot of times when people go into business or whatever it is, right, whatever industry, they often look at the competitors. They often look at the other people that are, the other players on the field. And the problem with that is that if you're fixated on everyone else, right, then you're looking to the left and you're looking to the right of you. You're looking at the sides, but you won't be paying attention on what's in front of you, right? If I use an example of, let's just say you're running track along a field, right? Like if you've ever run track, one of the first things to tell you is to focus straight ahead because you want to be focused on the goal. You want to be focused on where you're headed, right? If you're just paying attention to the left and the right of you, you're not going to be focused on what's in front. You're not going to be focused on the goal at hand because you're going to be looking at what everyone else is doing. And if you're looking at what everyone else is doing, then that means you're paying attention to what everyone else is doing, which means that you're not going to be creating, right? You're just going to be copying, right? Because you're just going to be seeing what everyone else is doing, right? And you need to remember that you are your own unique person, that you are your own unique entity, right? And because you are unique, you can provide a brand new perspective that has never been seen before, right? You can end up creating something that is so unique and so different from what everyone else is doing, and that can be what carves out your own lane for you, right? People can tend to look at the landscape and think, oh, I want to pursue YouTube, right? As an example, I want to pursue YouTube, but there's already so many big content creators in my space. So what, right? The reason why it doesn't matter is because those same subscribers that are subscribed to the big content creator, they can also like your content as well. It does, like, if they subscribe to the big content creator, that doesn't mean that they can't subscribe to you either, right? Like they don't have to pick and choose, right? The same idea if we use the two big brands such as Nike and Adidas, right? People think like, yeah, sure, these are two companies that are providing products in the same space of like sportswear and fitness, right, etc. But people think that if someone buys a product in one brand, that they can't buy a product in the other, right? Like people can purchase products in both brands and both brands can thrive, right? Both can coexist. And it's the same idea that I want you to believe with you, right? That you can coexist in the space of whatever industry you want to partake in, right? If you just decide that there's no space for you and you're not good enough and you're not capable, then all that means is that you'll never go after your dream. You'll never be able to experience what it's like to do what it is that you truly want to do, right? Plenty of people can, like, we see new restaurants open up every single day, every week, every month in our neighborhood, right? Every year in our neighborhood, right? And it happens because there's people who believe in themselves and believe in what they do and believe in the food that they make, that they want to share it with the rest of the world, right? It's easy for people to just say, oh, well, why would I open up a restaurant when there's already so many restaurants out in the world, right? Like, but there are people out there who don't think that way. And so because of that, they still decide to open up their restaurant because they're passionate about it. And then it ends up being a success because of it, right? And I want you to feel the same way about yourself, right? Oftentimes we can, if we're starting at zero, we can look at the industry leaders or the people that are successful, right? That are at the top of our given industry, whether it's YouTube, whether it's going into business, whether it's, playing an instrument of music, whatever it is, right? We can look at that and think, oh, well, they're too good, they're untouchable, I can never get to that level, or I can never, but you need to hold yourself to a high regard because it is all possible. It is all possible. You don't know when your breakthrough moment, if you decide to pursue it, that you don't know when your breakthrough moment is going to happen. And it very well will happen, right? If you continue at it, right? You just need to believe in yourself and be persistent, right? There's no need for you to underestimate yourself because you can be, do, or have anything. Your potential is literally infinite. It is unlimited. It cannot be measured. So that means whatever it is that you want to pursue and go after, you can actually make it happen. You can end up being the best. You can end up being the pioneer and grow a brand. If you building a business, right, you can grow the business to heights that have never been seen before, right? And it's like, as you do that, right, even like there was a point in time, like you guys have to remember, in today's age, right, we have billion-dollar companies. You need to remember that billion-dollar companies never existed back then, right? You go back 100, 200, 300 years, billion-dollar companies never existed. There needed to be someone to build a billion-dollar company, be the first one to do it, for everyone else to realize that it is possible. And now we have multiple billion-dollar companies that exist, right? It's the same with everything, right? Like someone has to be the first to do something, and then there's always going to be people that follow suit, right? So even if what you're thinking of doing or what you want to do might seem crazy, it's like it always is going to seem crazy until it's done, right? And I want you to believe in yourself that you are capable and it is possible for you to do that, right? Remember that everyone at some point in their life started off from zero. They start off from scratch, and they had an idea to go do something or to make something out of themselves, and it ended up being one of the best decisions that they've ever made, and they've ended up having so much fun doing it, and it's made their life enjoyable. And that should be the goal for you, right? Worry less about the competition, worry less about what other people are doing, and focus on what you have going on. Focus on what you're building and be proud of that. I can't stress that enough, because even if right now you're at zero, you're at the very beginning, or it feels as though you're still in the early stages, even after weeks, months, years, right? It doesn't matter. If your journey is meant to be your journey, and wherever it is that you are, be grateful because you've taken steps forward, and these are still the early stages, but it's inevitable for you to grow and get big and get to the point of where it is that you want to get to in life. So once again, do not overestimate the competition and underestimate yourself. You are better than you think. You are capable. You as a human being can be, do, or have anything in this lifetime, and your potential is infinite, right? So keep being a dreamer. Keep using your imagination to create the life that you want to create. And remember, right, you can make a difference in this world, right? When we were born and put into this earth, a lot of people struggle with the idea of them living in the world that other people created, because that is true, right? It's like you're born and you were put into this earth, and the earth as it is the creation, essentially, right, in your early stages, the creations of other people, right? It's what other, all the ideas that people had that like molded the world into where it is. But you have the power to also make that same difference with whatever it is that you want to do, right? So have belief in yourself. Believe that you are capable and that you can do it, because when you do achieve that goal, that dream, right, you'll be proud that you did it, right? And you'll know when you get there, obviously, that you've had it, the capabilities within you this entire time, right? There's no need to doubt yourself. There's no need to think that the competition or the industry leaders are too big to the point where it's not even worth it for you to try, because at the end of the day, you live this life to be happy. You live this life to do the things that bring you joy. And if something brings you joy, then have that be your focus, right? You don't have to explain it to other people. And of course, once again, it's always going to be crazy, or you're always going to be seen as crazy in the eyes of other people until you make it. And then once you make it, then people will look at you and say, oh, you were a genius because you seen something when nobody else did. Well, that's just because you had belief in yourself, and your belief is what propelled you forward, until your belief is what created the fact, right? People think the facts create the belief, but it's actually the other way around. It's the belief that creates the fact. So if you believe that you're great, you believe that you're capable, if you believe that you're successful, right, then the outer world is eventually going to give you evidence of that, until everyone else can see it with their own eyes for themselves, right? Like, you always need to, the most important part about this all is putting things in perspective. Like, I'll give a quick example before I wrap up this video. If I use the example of Raising Cane's, right? So Raising Cane's is I guess you could say a fast casual chain. It's pretty much a chain restaurant, and their focus, they pretty much sell only a few items. It's pretty much chicken fingers, French fries, and toast, and I guess they'll give you coleslaw, right? But the favorite thing for customers is their sauce. They're not selling anything revolutionary, guys. I promise you, chicken fingers or slash chicken tenders and French fries and toast have existed for hundreds of years, right? It's existed for a long time. And as far as I'm concerned, Raising Cane's, well, not in my area, right? Raising Cane's didn't exist, or I just wasn't aware of its existence when I was a kid, right? And I'm in my late 20s. But now in today's age, Raising Cane's is a billion-dollar company selling literally chicken fingers and French fries and toast, right? Like, it's easy. If you had the idea of making the next Raising Cane's, right, you might doubt yourself and think that it might not be possible for your business to be successful because it's just selling chicken tenders and French fries and toast. But that's what Raising Cane's did, and they stuck with that, and that's what exploded their business to be pretty much international business, right? You can go to so many different countries and find a Raising Cane's there, right? So sometimes, right, all that's required is just having belief in yourself. And I'm sure it was easy for Raising Cane's to look at, all these other large chains of like McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Panera Bread, right? Like KFC, whatever it is, right? They could have looked at all these chains and say, you know what? They've dominated all of the food, and so there's no point in us even trying, right? but they believed in themselves. They believed in their product and what they offered, and that is what propelled them forward in order to grow into the business that they are today. So people think that, you know, there's all these billion-dollar companies that exist, and because of that they're not able to ever compete in the space or make a dent in the industry that they want to pursue. But that couldn't be further from the truth, right? Stop overestimating the competition and thinking that like they're untouchable and that you can't ever penetrate the market, right? Like you can do that in anything that you want to pursue. You can be the next big thing. Sometimes that just requires innovation and creativity, and you do that by focusing on yourself. It's not by looking at the competition and seeing what everyone else is doing, because that goes against the laws of the universe, right? The laws of the universe, creation is the basis of the universe, and creation is with you using your imagination and your creativity to make something that hasn't existed before, or to make something new. And you can't do that if you're focusing on what everyone else is doing, which are things that already exist, right? So that is the premise of this video, right? Do not underestimate yourself, because you can have it all. So that rest of the video. Enjoy the video. Do leave a like and subscribe as we're on the road to a million subscriber, guys. So once again, it's Joel, and I'm out. I'll see you guys for the next video.